I'm so excited about today's topic. I'm sure you all have experienced this, but you know how when you like pick a topic, then it kind of like shows up everywhere. So I picked this like, I don't know, a week or a couple weeks ago. Because I give it to my team in advance so they can like make the graphics, etc. And then I've had like, I swear, I think 4 experiences like over the past couple of days where this was like exactly what was coming up for people and exactly what we were diving into. And it was just so perfect. And so I know that there is like a need for this right now. I know it was the right timing. And I'm pumped to talk about it. Hey, Diane. Thank you, guys. All right, cool. So excuse me. This is also very timely because as you guys know, I have a mastermind called Value Centered Sales, and we started today. And the first module is all about getting sold on yourself, which I love. So we just had our first call today. It was amazing. And this was some of the stuff that we were diving into. So I feel like I am coming to you with lots of perspective on this topic right now. Okay. So if you have any questions about this as I go, let me know. But here's the deal. You have to be sold on yourself or no one else will be, right? So we're going to talk today about like how to do that, how to get sold on yourself, and why that's so important. Now, I'm going to start with why that's so important because I think that can be an easy thing to hear. And it can be like, yeah. If I get the client, I'll be sold on myself. Or when I have the results, I'll be sold on myself. Or once the funnel's up or the website's better or my content's going out, or like, it's so easy to get in our own way of like, once this happens, then I'll be sold on myself. Once something else outside me proves it to me, then I'll do that, right? And it is like the most detrimental thing I see new entrepreneurs or even seasoned entrepreneurs doing to ourselves, which is standing in our own way and thinking that someone else, something else is going to have to prove to us that we're awesome before we can believe it. Hey, Claire. And of course, this is totally applicable to life too, as all things in business are. But if we're not our own biggest fan, if we're not sold on ourselves, it is so hard, almost impossible to have anyone else be sold on us, to have anyone else be our biggest fan. So I'm going to tell you guys a funny story really quick because I think this just totally demonstrates it. And I told a client this recently and she was like, that's hysterical. But I recently bought this thing called what is it called? I think it's called a hair crown. I'm pretty sure it's called a hair crown, a hair halo, hair crown, something to that extent. But basically, I should have worn it. It's pretty good. Basically, it's like a fishing wire thing that goes like this, and then you have like hair, like hair extensions coming out of it. And it's really amazing, actually. But like, I wasn't necessarily in the market for hair extensions. Like, I like have pretty long hair as it is, but I swear somehow I got targeted or watched this video and this woman on it was just like so obsessed with these things. And she had kind of thin hair. Like I've like not thin hair, but like I have a lot of hair, but it's just really fine. And she was like showing, you know, how full it made it look. And like her energy on this video was so captivating. Like she was so sold on this thing. She was so excited. She had created this thing because she had like not had the hair she wanted. And it was not like an inexpensive thing. I mean, I think it was like $250 or $300. And I swear I just like watched this video and was just so into it. It was entirely because of her energy, how sold she was on this product she created, how obsessed with it she was. And I like, you know, buy the thing, like pick my hair color, buy the thing, whatever. And I'm like, an hour later, I'm like, did I just spend $300 on hair extensions that I like don't actually need, right? And I'm not trying to suggest that we should all be selling things to people that they don't actually need it. I'm sure I will love and enjoy these and they're actually beautiful. But my point is, I bought entirely off emotion and entirely off energy. And so the reason that I'm sharing that story today is because that's the context I want you to bring to this conversation, which is like, I wasn't even looking for something, but how sold she was on this suddenly really captivated me. It really drew me in. Her energy really dictated my energy. And like suddenly I'm making this big purchase that I like really wasn't in the market for and had no intention of purchasing, right? Your clients, your audience can be the same, right? If you are really sold on yourself and you're showing up with that, sorry, I'll have something in my eye. If you're showing up with that, like you could go from not even wanting the thing that you're selling to all of a sudden I have to have it. And it's entirely dictated by how available you are to sell it, how sold on it you are, how excited you are, how it's translated, right? So think about that context when you think about why is this conversation so important? Because it's how we get people off the fence, right? Like almost all of us make almost entirely emotion-based buying decisions. Can you guys give me an example of that? Like I would love for you to type in the comments, what is the last like emotion-based buying decision you made, right? Whether that was hiring a coach or maybe you bought you bought hair extensions recently. Maybe y'all saw that same video I did. But like so often I think that we tend to think that we make very practical buying decisions and that our audience makes very practical buying decisions. And 9 times out of 10, that is not true. They are emotion driven. Like my hair purchase. I'm so mad I didn't wear them, you guys. Like I'm like, oh, should I go get them? My hair purchase was entirely emotionally driven, right? I can think of coaches that I've hired that, you know, I have just, actually my first coach, she loves this story. So it's funny because she's like so proud of herself that this is what I bought. But my first coach was Mel Farr. And I watched a video, like I hope it still exists on the internet. But she basically like was crying in the video and talking about how she was like waiting for her last 2 clients and she could like feel them coming. And I literally hired her almost entirely because she like publicly cried on this video. And this was like pre-Periscope, pre-Facebook Live. And so she just like cried on it and uploaded it to YouTube basically. And on our discovery call, you know, she was asking like, oh, what like made me reach out or whatever. And I was like, oh, I saw you cry in video. And like, I'm pretty emotional human and a big crier and just like really resonated with that. So like, let's rock and roll, right? And it's so funny though, because I wasn't like, well, I researched you to a T and they like that you're doing these 17 things. And I was like, so you cried on video and that tugged at my heartstrings and I would like for us to work together, please and thank you. But like the other thing about that video, she was so sold on herself and the work she was doing, it was like making her emotional. And so that is my point. We make emotion-based buying decisions and we have to be the one driving the emotion behind how excited we are about our product or service, how amazing it is, how it's gonna be the most life-changing thing ever, right? Claire says 100%, I know this from my first business especially. Absolutely. Clients always find the money when they are emotionally connect with what you're offering. 100%. That's so funny. I know. True story. we should find that video. But it's just true, right? I actually, you know, think that the times where I have seen like the most outreach about something, like I think to this day, one of my most popular live streams that I did, I literally did in my bed, was just like holding my phone. And I had a really bad day and I just like did a live stream about it and was like, here's what's going on. Here's why I'm live streaming like from my bed under the covers. And I think I got more clients from that than almost any live stream ever. And the point of this is not to say get emotional. The point of this is to say that when we drive the emotion behind how excited we are, when we are sold on ourselves and we drive the emotion behind that, that is when people buy, right? It's not when we're like, here are the list of features of my program, or when we like, you know, are able to give out the most value. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about value. You guys know this. I have an entire program called Value Centered Sales. There's nothing I believe in more than giving value. But if you don't believe in your own value, if you don't think that you're giving out the most value, if you don't think that like there's nobody better than you doing what you're doing, that's when you're going to suffer. That's when all the value in the world that you put out is not going to net you clients, because they can feel that. Clients feel our energy, right? Hey, Maggie. Maggie's on here. She listened to one podcast that I did. She could feel my energy. I talked about mindset, strategy, and execution. I am massively fucking sold on that. Like, I will talk about that all day. I think it is the answer to all your prayers, all your problems. I think if everyone on this live stream used that framework, they would see their entire business change in a day. Like, it's real good. She listened to a podcast where I did it, got on the phone with me and bought from me. Like, that was it, because I was so sold on it. So I want to know, are you sold on yourself right now? Do you feel like you're sold on the services? If you are, give me an emoji that shows me that. If you're like, let me know. I just want to know where you're at. No shame in that game. I think that what happens is, and I'm just gonna, Maggie said, yes, I did. Best decision ever. My emotion was hope and confidence. Totally. And I say this all the time, but sometimes when my clients hire me, they have to borrow my belief, right? So what I mean by that is, like, they're, like, in this new space, they don't understand it. They don't know it. They like want to go to this next level. They're feeling stressed. They want to borrow my belief that I can help them get there. If I am not routinely demonstrating my belief that I'm excellent at what I do and that I'm excellent at helping my clients get to that next level, why are they going to buy from me? Right? A lot of times our clients come to us in indecision about whatever the thing is, right? Like, it's their business, their health, their life, their marriage, anything, right? They need us to believe more than they do. They need us to be more confident than they are that we can help them. Now, does that mean I have the answer to everything, that they're not still the expert at their own life? No, not at all. But, like, I need my doctor to be way more confident in his ability to, like, give me surgery than I am. Like, I don't fucking know, but I know I need surgery. Can you help me with that? Like, I need him to be real confident when we're talking about that. You know what I mean? Like, real good example. If I'm coming to you and you're like taking out my gallbladder or something, I'm going to need your level of confidence to be high, and I need to borrow your belief, right? If he's like, I mean, I've done it before, but like, there have been times I could have done it better, and like, cool. So no thanks. Right? So that is the same thing with your clients. Like, it feels that important to them, right? And if they can't borrow your belief, if your confidence isn't exceeding theirs right now, they're not going to be emotionally driven to buy from you, right? Christina says, totally get you, girl. Caitlin says, I'm sold on them again. I also feel like I need more confidence too, if that makes sense. 100%. Man, I'm more sold when people buy. Jennifer, I totally get that. And I think that's something we do to ourselves a lot. Like, we wait for other people to show us they believe in us instead of being the one to show it, right? Maggie says, totally sold on myself and my ability to help my clients transform their lives in marriage. It took lots of internal and external work to build that confidence. Hey, Elisa. Yeah, totally. Maggie, I know, made that your intention. Right? I mean, like, you decided that was first and foremost of importance in your business, is that you were exceptional at what you did, that you absolutely were sold on yourself, and you did the work and a lot of it to get there. And now you're making sales that show that, right? And you're getting on sales calls knowing, like, I am amazing. Like, this is the thing. I ask people this, or my clients this, all the time, and it's like a tough question to answer, but do you like how I built the suspense there? It's a tough question to answer. But it's, do you really believe that you are the best at what you do? Like, do you believe someone should go to someone else besides you? Like, I really believe I am an exceptional coach. Like, if you want to grow your business and make money online, you should come to me. Seriously, hands down. Like, get one-on-one support from me. Like, I believe that in my heart. I think I am stellar, right? Do I think that means nobody else is good? No, I'm not saying that at all. But do I think that you should come to me? 100%. Do I think that I will help you more than that course, that program, whatever? Totally. Like, so sold on that, so confident in that, right? Now, that lets me sell in a totally different way because I feel good about selling because I'm like, oh, no, don't go buy that other thing. Trust me, I can help you. Trust me, I'm amazing, right? And so that makes selling not only feel really good to me, but like really easy to me because it just feels true, right? So I think that's pretty much the foundational point of why you have to get sold on yourself. I think another thing I want to say is that, yes, love this question. Maggie says yes. Yeah, totally. I mean, you have to believe that, right? And it's not to be in competition. It's just like, do you really believe people should come to you? Or do you think there's someone out there that's going to help them more? Right. And I'm just like, no, you should come to me. Right. So another thing that I want to say about that is that at the end of the day, when people come into this industry, I think they are more often than not sold on themselves. And I'm making a very broad and sweeping generalization here. So let's just see. But I think that there's no industry that exists that's quite like this, where we're all just so on top of each other all the time, if that makes sense. So like you're seeing I don't really buy into this, but let's just use the term competition all the time. Everybody's kind of like sharing what they do and how they do it and whatever. And so a lot of people will come in sold on themselves, and then they gradually lose that faith as they go in their business because, you know, maybe they came in, I'm just going to make something up here, but like maybe they came in to help people get whatever, their money mindset in check. Let's start there, right? Then as they like try to build funnels and try to figure out their website and try to like, you know, learn every program on planet Earth and all of these things, their confidence starts to dwindle, right? They see all these knowledge gaps and they start becoming less sold on themselves. And I think that is a huge, huge issue that I see in our industry, where you come out of the gate like ready to roll, and then all of a sudden your confidence goes down because you're seeing all these things you're not doing and all these ways you could be doing it. We're on top of each other all the time, so we're all comparing. Like, you know, when I worked as a therapist, I wasn't like looking at other therapists' numbers and like knowing their clients' results and like what they were doing for their email marketing or something. So it's just like a different world, but it's like our job to put on those blinders and really like do the mindset work around filtering that information, because if not, it's going to be so easy to fall down that trap, to start this business with the best of intentions to impact people and because you love it and because you think you can help. And then you get in here and you're like, oh, never mind, because there are 30 things that I don't know, right? So part of getting sold on yourself is really figuring out, what are you amazing at? What's your zone of genius? And like, how do you step into that? To be totally honest, I sort of hate this conversation in a way. Elisa says, you are stellar. Thank you, girl. I appreciate it. I sort of hate this conversation in a way, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that what's your zone of genius gets so played out that it almost feels like, I don't know, feels like the cheesy thing now or something like that, right? Like, yeah, I'll step into my zone of genius like when I am making enough money or whatever. And I think we also kind of take that to mean like you shouldn't be doing other stuff. Like if your zone of genius isn't content, don't write content all day. That's not actually what I mean here. What I mean when I say like part of getting sold on yourself is stepping into your zone of genius is like just knowing what you're really good at. So like I know for sure that I'm really, really excellent at one-on-one, right? Does that mean I don't still have to like get on live stream and market and do other things? No, it does not. However, it does mean that I've designed my entire business model around small group and one-on-one, because I'm certain that that's where I deliver excellent results, and that's what I'm stellar at. That's what I enjoy the most, that kind of thing. So that's like what I think of when I think of zone of genius, where I think the way it gets talked about is like only do things in your zone and like never anything else. And it like prevents you from building your business, or you're hiring a big team before you're ready. That's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying is, if you're like, I had a client recently, this is a good example, who is a health coach, and she was like freaking out, right, over her, like basically, let's just say like the branding / footage on a video PDF workbook that she was doing. And I was like, is someone paying you to do that for them? Like, I would, like, if you're a graphic designer and you're doing that, then yes, it really matters. If you're a health coach, do I really care about your video quality? I mean, I want to be able to see it, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, like, am I paying you to record my videos? And so her confidence was like totally faltering because of this thing that was completely irrelevant to the zone of genius that she was selling. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, if I put myself in a position where I had to coach like 50 people at once and then like felt like, well, I'm not doing good, I'm not confident. Yeah, no shit, that's just not what I'm the best at. Like, I'm just not going to do that. So I think that sometimes when we get into this industry, all these other things come at us that we feel like we should do. And then when we're not doing it all great, our confidence really starts to falter. So I think that's another problem, is like, I would look at when I entered this space, what was my intention? What did I feel really good at? What did I want to do? Was I sold on it then? Obviously, if I put my foot in, right? Eva says, this is so true. I just shared this in a live in my group last week. Beautiful. Hey, Deb. Oh, it's so good to see you. She said, just speaking to Divine Client about this topic and so sold on the magic, Nicole, and I do. P.S. You're wonderful. You are wonderful, and I am sold on your magic too. Hey, Brandies. So for context, all of those things are important. You have to be sold on yourself. The other thing I want to say about that is, like, you can always assume that everybody's going to be a little less sold than you are, right? Like, you have to be your own biggest fan. So like, if your energy's here, everybody else is going to come in kind of below that or about to match it. Like, nobody's going to be more sold on you than you are. Does that make sense? So when you're thinking about the energy that you're bringing to your sales process, to whatever, a post, a live stream, a discovery call, whatever, assume that no one is ever going to be as or more sold than you are. So it's your job to hold that vibration, to hold that energy, to hold that excitement, to hold that emotion up here, because people are only going to be able to match or come in below that. They're not going to be able to hold it for you and then bring you up to it, right? So whatever that takes before a live, a discovery call, writing a post, whatever, like, that is your most important work. Like, can you take the 5 minutes before to do whatever you got to do, whether that's meditate or read client testimonials or go for a walk or, you know, write down your affirmations or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's like, what's your process for getting up there, for getting really sold on yourself before you do anything sales-wise, right? You guys know I love me a good dating analogy. And this is just so freaking true in the dating world too. If you're going on a bunch of dates, like looking for somebody to prove to you that you're awesome, I'm going to be a long, hard road, right? You might have some of those ups. You might have that moment that feels pretty good. You might have that quick win. But at the end of the day, it's like completely unsustainable and not long lasting at all. Like, if you're looking for someone else to prove you're amazing. Now, if you get to the place of I'm amazing and then you go on dates, suddenly everybody's reflecting that to you and you're like, duh, And sales are like the exact same way, right? If you're waiting for everyone else to validate you, you might have some quick wins. If you have like a post that goes really well and people are like, oh my God, you're amazing. You might feel really good for a couple of days. If you have, you know, a great discovery call, or, you know, if someone even signs on, you're going to have those like spikes that feel good, but it is not sustainable, right? If you come with the energy of like, I'm amazing, there's no one better to help you, come on down, everyone's going to start reflecting that to you. You're going to be like, yeah, duh, right? So this is the work. Like, if you're not feeling confident selling, if you feel like I'm doing all the right things, anybody ever felt like that? Give me an emoji. Doing all the right things and it's not working, not converting. 9 times out of 10, this is probably, it's either your problem or it's the place to go back to start discerning your problem, which is like, am I just sold on this? And then step 2 of that is, am I telling everyone why they should be sold on it too? I definitely have had the experience of both with self and clients, which is like sometimes I'll have a client come to me who like, to me privately is really sold on themselves. Like they're like, I'm literally fucking amazing. Like the transformation I provide is unbelievable, but they're not telling anybody that. They're almost kind of coming from this place of like, and why don't people see it? Instead of like, why am I not telling people this every day? Right? Which, you know, can be a hard thing, but it's like a necessary thing for business and sales. Or someone's out there trying to tell people regularly why they should buy, but they're behind the scenes not confident in it. Like, so they're posting like, you should hire me, but like behind the scenes, they're saying to me like, but I'm not sure if they should hire me. So like one of those two things could be happening, or of course somewhere in the middle. But it's like either way, the solution is the same. Get sold on yourself, be vocal about it. Get sold on yourself, be vocal about it. You might have to work more on the be vocal part, more on the get sold on yourself part. It doesn't really matter. But if you're not, no one else is going to be. And if you are, but you're not telling anyone else and you're not giving anyone else the chance to meet you there or match you or get on board with you, right? So I want to talk about that for a minute. But what I want to know right now is, what thing do you do? You know, maybe that's like a way you coach. Maybe it's a service you provide. Maybe it's a program you have. Like, it doesn't really matter. What thing do you do that you are massively sold on? Tell me in the comments, right? I think this is so important to just kind of like name this stuff sometimes, because I feel like, again, it's not just being sold on it. It's like being willing to be vocal about it, right? Being willing to say, there's no one better that you could hire. Like, I provide transformation. I'm so fucking confident in that. Come on down, right? So what thing are you sold on? Like, maybe it's just like a small part of your program that you're sold on. Maybe it's the whole thing. Tell me in the comments. I want to hear. And then here's some of the stuff I want to talk about. Like, let's practically talk about like, what are the ways to do this? I think there are a lot, so I'm going to try to like condense it on in. One, I think, is just, okay, let me back it on up. We're going to talk about two things. One, what's the mindset work required to get sold on yourself? Two, what's the practical work of like not only being sold on yourself, but like actually telling people about it? Cool. So one, what is the mindset work of getting sold on yourself? I think if you are listening to this and you are noticing that this is a problem for you, there's like no more important work that you could be doing in your business. Like, I literally said to a client recently, like, I don't care if you do this for 3 hours and then get 1 hour of practical work done a day in your business. Like, you need to be doing the work of like, why am I so sold on what I do, what I'm about, what I believe in, how I help people? Like, maybe you need to do some free sessions to start believing in that. Maybe you just need to journal some shit out and figure out what's standing in your way. Maybe you need to get a coach and really dive into it. Maybe you need to do some tapping and clear some shit that came up. Maybe you need to let go of the fact that you are not going to know everything there is to ever know about the online business world, right? Like, whatever it is, that work is the most foundational, important work that you can be doing in your business. So whatever task you need to do or support you need to do to get that, I think it is so crucial. Personally, for me at the beginning of my business, I'd already run a couple businesses. I'd been a therapist for a while, and I still felt like this was a new arena for me. So I coached 3 people for free for 3 months each. And it was the best thing I ever did because it completely got me sold on myself. Just being able to like work with them and be like, yes, I do know what I'm doing. I am good at this. Like, I knew I would be, but I am, and it's amazing. Like, it just totally changed the game for me. So whether it's that, like I said, or diving in with a coach or like doing your own mindset work, like, has to be done. And then the second part of selling yourself and being vocal about it, I think that sometimes it's just habit, like, is sort of the first thing I would say, where like sometimes we just forget that that's really important. But like, I would challenge everybody on here, like, can you set a thing on your calendar, like a reminder, or even like a time space on your phone every day that reminds you, like, go tell everyone how sold I am on myself. Go talk about how I'm amazing. Go talk about whatever. And like, I don't necessarily mean that you even have to talk about like how you're amazing. I think I try to spend most of my time talking about how like the results I've gotten my clients are amazing. I mean, you guys don't actually hear me talk about my personal results all that much. I'm like way more concerned with like, are my clients getting results? So that's a way you can lean in if it feels weird to talk about yourself personally. But it doesn't really matter as long as you're saying, I'm amazing, here it is, right? So my question to you would be like, can you make that commitment to do that in some way, shape, or form every day, right? Christina says, my online course, entirely beautiful. Lisa says, helping clients build authentic connections online that convert prospects into clients, colleagues, and collaboration partners. Girl, I love that. Maggie says, I help my clients shift perspective, and this gives them the space to create thriving love. I've had so many clients where traditional therapy didn't help them, and in a couple of sessions with me, they have massive breakthroughs. I am totally a love ninja. Like, so good, right? Like, to be able to like stand in front of your audience and be like, I will give you a massive breakthrough. I'm a love ninja. Like, especially when Maggie is obviously a marriage coach, but like, especially when they're in the place of like, they're not in belief. Like, they have to borrow your belief. They have to borrow that belief that you can give them a breakthrough, that you are a love ninja. Like, and so when you show up and show up with that belief, you are serving them massively because they can borrow that. Like, I think sometimes we think it's so braggy, and it's like such a freaking service that you can go, hey, even if therapy didn't work, even if this is happening for you, I got you. And that is such a game changer for people, right? Brandy says, I'm amazing at research and creating content. I'm also amazing at teaching meditation and making it fun. Love that. I love ninja. Yes, beautiful. So do you see how this is so important in the sense of like the work you could be doing in your business, right? Now, like, it can be easy to be like, oh, but like, I have so much other work to be doing. Like, I don't have time to like journal on this shit all day, or, I don't have more time in my day to like now set a timer and write an additional post on how wonderful I am. But the truth is, this is the absolute foundation of sales. Like, if you're not in this place, don't build out your sales process. It's sort of like, if you don't have a message, don't build out a content plan. Like, you have to have a message before you build off of that. Sales is the same way. Like, you have to be sold on yourself before you build out your sales process. You have to find that thing that you believe in so deeply that you want to shout it from the rooftops and tell the world. And when you do, building a sales process off of it is easy. When you don't, building a sales process off of it often feels like a whole lot of work, right? The other thing I want to say about this is that you can start where you are. So this is a conversation I had with a client recently too, which was like, cool, you have this big, huge vision for things that you want to do, and you're not quite sold on them yet because you maybe like haven't accomplished those things yet or whatever. What can you get your energy behind right now? So like, an example for me is when I started in this online space, I coached almost entirely on content because it was something I was really sold on then. Like, what I had done was create an amazing content strategy for myself. I was whipping it out, left and right. I was doing amazing. I was like kicking ass with putting out content, with my process, with making it easy. So to coach and support people around that felt really good because I was not only really sold on my process, but I was also really sold on the results that content provided. Not that I had them yet, because I had been in business for all of 2 minutes, but I had been watching, influencers, coaches online for a while. And it was so obvious to me that content was like the absolute door and gateway to all of their success. So it's not like I'm saying you have to be like at this place where you have these tremendous results. What I'm saying is you can step into what you're sold on. So I was sold on what content could do, and I was sold that I could really, really help people create a strategic way to do it that like didn't take all their time, that was actually fun and easy, right? And so that's what I did for a while until I realized, well, wait, I'm helping them with so much more. There's so much more to this. And that's when I built out the mindset strategy execution framework. And that is what I am like to this day, just like fucking massively sold on. Like, again, I think that framework can help you achieve anything and everything. And I think there's no client that hasn't like fucking rocked shit out in their business for. But like like I couldn't have started there, I guess is how I want to say it, right? Like where I started was with stuff I could immediately get behind, stuff I could get sold on. So that would be a challenge I have to you, is like, if I keep trying to get myself sold on this thing that I'm not sold on yet, what's the starting point for that? And then how can I continue to lean into creating more opportunities or offers or evolving my message as I get more and more sold on the things that I'm doing, right? Like, this is not a specific person, I'm just making this up, but it's like when you're kind of like coming out of the gate and trying to say like, you're a money mindset coach for millionaires. It's hard to get your energy behind that. Sometimes it's really hard to get sold on that if like you've never had $1 million or made even close to that, right? But like, could you get your mindset behind like a money mindset coach for entrepreneurs wanting to get their first client, right? What can you get sold on? What can you get really behind? I think that so many times in this industry, we're kind of led to believe like, oh, you can't get on board with being a money mindset coach for millionaires. Well, there's something wrong and you need to do more mindset work. Like, not necessarily. What can you get sold on? What can you get behind? And how do we start there? Because that inherently shifts your mindset and leads to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, right? So that can be a starting point. So let's recap. You got to be sold on yourself, because everyone is only going to match or come in lower than the energy that you're bringing to that, or the belief that you're bringing to that. Our clients often need to borrow our belief, just like we would like the doctor or surgeon or a lawyer or whatever. Like, they need to borrow our belief. So our job is to be so massively sold on ourselves that they get to borrow that and kind of jump up to meet us, and not the other way around. We should not be expecting our clients to be, the mirror to us. Like, where they're holding the energy of being sold on us and then we have to rise to meet them. It has to be the other way around, right? There are kind of two parts to this. You have to be really sold on yourself, and then you have to be vocal about that, right? You have to let people know that. You don't want to be the best kept secret, right? And then the last part is like, pick what you can get your energy behind. Pick, you guys mentioned different things in here. Like, okay, cool. Like, there's this, I'm amazing at, Brandy said, like research and creating content. Beautiful. Like, then you get to go design everything around that, right? Maybe you don't have to help with, I'm totally teasing you, Brandy said, I have no idea. But like, maybe you don't have to help with like building out 6-offer funnel, right? You're going to like go to the thing you're really good at and can get your energy behind and can get sold on. Then you're going to build your business off of that foundation, right? He said, I just had this aha last week. I was not sold on myself on something, but then started to nail down things I rock at and what I love doing. Holy shift. Absolutely. If you get sold on yourself, everyone will start reflecting that to you. If you're feeling like you're doing all the right things and you're not making sales, this is absolutely the place to start. It's like, am I sold on myself and am I communicating that? Am I sold on myself and am I communicating that? Do I really, really, really believe there's no one better than me to help my clients with what they do? Because if you believe that, you're going to want to shout it from the rooftops, right? And you have a responsibility in many ways to shout it from the rooftops, because they need to hear that. You don't want to be hiding in the background where all your ideal clients are like buying other like courses and programs that are like not as great for them. You want to be the one telling them, and they need to borrow that belief, right? So whatever work you need to do around that, whether it's like the getting in the habit of sharing from that place or doing the mindset work, maybe both, is the absolute most important work you can do in your business. So I hope that is your takeaway today. Brandy said funnels, I can do them, but not sold on them. Totally. And I think that sometimes that's what happens in our business, is we end up doing all these things we like can do or like tangentially know how to do, but we're not sold on it. Like, I know a decent amount about nutrition and health because I had Crohn's and have been through a lot, but like, I'm so not sold on my ability to help someone with that. So like, I'm not going to try if I tried to build a business based on that, just because I like know some stuff, just because I could. it would be a disaster and I wouldn't make any sales. So that's a great point, is like sometimes we can do something. It doesn't mean we're super sold on it, right? So I want to know if you guys are watching or watching the replay. Tell me, what are you super sold on about yourself? And or what is your commitment to getting even more sold on yourself? Is it doing that daily mindset work? Is it setting that alarm in your phone every day? Is it journaling? Is it getting coaching support? Like whatever it is, this is the most important work you could be doing in your business. So keep me posted. I want to know, I want to hear, and I hope that you guys have a beautiful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.